Hey guys, my Premier student Thierry had a question about when you have a chord for two measures, how do you create a bass line over that? So first of all, let's start with the one measure per chord bass line. All right, so you'll notice here what's going on is I have the root of the chord, the fifth of the chord, then the root, and then I'm doing this approach, which is a half step above the next root. So you notice I'm hitting the roots of the chord on each new chord change, which is the beginning of each measure. So root, 5, root, approach, root, 5, root, approach, okay? And then root, 5, root, approach again, this is another half step, and then root, 5, root, approach again, that half step, and then root, 5, root, approach, and it just keeps going on and on. Now, obviously at this point, I'm not going to go back to this C, I would go back to this C. Root, 5, root, approach, root, 5, root, approach, root, 5. And why would I not go back to this C? Because, well, so I'd be right here, right? And I'd have to jump all the way back down there. So that doesn't make a lot of sense, right? So that's one measure per chord. Now, what about two measures per chord? So now what you'll notice here, let me switch the angle here so you can see this. Now, what you notice that we're doing here is this is a little bit different now. Now we have the root 5, and then we go to the root, and then notice this right in here, those, okay? This is different now, isn't it? This now is, whoop, see if I can get that one measure for you. No, okay. So anyway, this right here is, so I have root, fifth, then this is root again, but now I'm doing this triple chromatic actually. D, E flat, E natural, then to F, we could also say D sharp, right? Then we go up to that root up there, and then I could come up to my fifth, root, 5 again, and then go back to the root, and now this note down here, it's way down there, A sharp, B. This is the third, going up, double chromatic, back up to the C. Okay? So what you're looking for, right, or what you want to clue into is, all right, so on the first example, the one measure per chord, we have root, 5, root, approach, and then a new root, okay? On this one, we're going root 5, so there's one measure right there. So if you just had to play one chord for over and over again, like, I can just keep on that over and over again, root 5, root. Okay, so I can just play that root 5 all day long. Okay. Notice I come up to this top root rather than going just like this, because that's going to get boring, isn't it? Sounds a little bit boring, but this, at least here we get some motion going on, all right? Okay, so that's the first thing. The next thing is that you'll notice that when I do the root 5 root, now the next part of this is trying to get to the next chord, which is going to be the F. So again, what I could do if I wanted to is I could take this right here, I could take, or I could do this, I could take that, root 5 root, fifth, and then take this one, root 5 root approach, going into the F. So I could do that, but take a listen to that, right, and listen to what that sounds like. So that's root 5, root 5. And that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's, you know, it sounds a little boring after a while, hitting that root 5 root over and over again. So instead, this is where I'm doing this, and this brings in that, let me show you there. This is bringing in that real cool chromaticism right in there, okay? So here now I have that chromaticism. I have the root, and now I'm doing that chromaticism up to the F. Why did I not go to C sharp? Because C sharp is like, whoa, way outside of the key. So here, this is a double, like actually, I'm sorry, a triple chromatic. That's a double chromatic. Chromatic, double chromatic, triple chromatic approach going into the F. And then when I came down to the F, I did this triple chromatic going up back into the C. So triple chromatic to F, triple chromatic to F to C. So here again. Now, one thing you'll probably notice is that this is a little awkward, isn't it, when you're playing this? So root 5, root 5, root, and then to come up like that, and then to come underneath like that again, it's a little bit awkward. So what I did was I created an alternate pattern as well. So check out this alternate pattern. So here, and I also put in fingering for you. So 5, 2, 1, 2, 5, 4, 3, 2. Now I'm going to root 5, root, but now I'm going down. So root 5, root, fifth, root, and then to the triple chromatic. This is also a third of the chord. Notice I'm going 5, 4, 5, tucking that under, and then this time rather than hitting 5, I'll hit 4, and I can easily get back up to 2. So that's how you create a bass line when you have a chord that's good for one measure or a chord that is going to be held out for 2 measures. And in using this technique, now it could be 3, 4, 5, 6 measures. It doesn't matter. You could just keep going back and forth. And you can start to get fancier with it as time goes on. But these are the basic steps to get started with that. Remember, the bass line for right now, just keep it steady quarter notes. The main thing about a bass line is keeping it nice and steady, keeping that time rock solid in your left hand. That's where it's great to play with a play-along track or with a metronome. Okay? So that's it. I will see you in the next lesson.